Yo, what's up, guys? It's Hunter, that shit crazy from the Tastemakers. Today I'm gonna be breaking down this Regalia type beat that I made. I posted on my Instagram a couple days ago and asked everybody if they wanted a tutorial on it, and everybody said yeah, obviously, because here I am. Let's get into the beat. But before I do, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow us on social medias, and that way we know what kind of tutorials you want. So yeah, let's get into it. First thing I did was open up Omnisphere, went to Keyscape, and I added this piano pattern. I added these chords, and they're pretty basic chords, but the top line melody really pushes everything together. That's the piano pattern. It's pretty simple, but it does its job. What I did on the mixer channel is I added an EQ just to roll off some of the lows, and then I added this vintage verb. And with these type of beats, you really want a lot of reverb on your instruments, especially your piano. Next thing I did was go into Omnisphere again. I went to the Keyscape Creative Library, and I added this pillowy piano pad. That whole sentence was a mouthful, by the way. But yeah, I added the same chords, and then I added like this repeating top line melody right here, and then at the end I changed it up a little bit. So that's just like an ambient noise that I put in the background, and I used it to like start off the verse just to take the piano out. And on that, I added a EQ, a Valhalla vintage verb again with a lot of reverb, and a S1 imager just to kind of widen it out a little bit. Next thing I did was go into Xenology, and I added this AX violin, and I pretty much just kept it the same thing throughout. And on the last one, I brought it up an octave. On that, pretty much the same thing. I just added a vintage verb and a S1 imager, and I didn't add an EQ because it didn't have any lows, and I wanted to keep the highs, so it's like, why would I add an EQ? Next thing I did was go into Xenology again. I added this spiccato section, and this is personally my favorite part of the beat. These strings are just like so diverse, and the pattern that I laid down on this is just crazy. It looks crazy, but it's really not that crazy. I was just following the chords a little bit, so yeah, I'm gonna show you what it sounds like. And I kept it the same on both parts, really because the chords are moving it a lot, and I felt like I could keep it repetitive without it sounding repetitive because of the chords, obviously. On the mixer channel, I just added an EQ, obviously, again, rolling off some of the lows. And then I added a lot of reverb. And on these type of beats, strings are like a must. You have to have strings on this beat, which brings us to the next part. I added another strings, obviously. This real strings preset from Xenology. And again, just a repetitive pattern. And this is like one of them sounds that just sits in the background. It's not really doing too much, but you can hear it and it's there. Again, EQ rolling off the lows and a lot of reverb. So I'll play all of the instruments together real quick for you guys just so you can hear what it sounds like. So the next thing I did was add this Omnisphere bass. It's my own preset. So yeah, here's the pattern. I pretty much just followed the chord progression, obviously. And on this mixer preset, I added a lot. I added a fruity fast distortion. I added a shaper box because I had some like side chaining on there, but I ended up turning it off. I didn't like it. I EQ'd out some of the highs due to the fast distortion, kind of adding some high end on there. And then I added a chorus just to kind of muddy it up a little bit. And then I added a S1 imager just to widen it. Next thing I did after that was add this Spins 808. You don't have to really use a crazy 808 like sound on this one. I like a short 808 just because of like the pattern that I'm gonna be laying down, but it's up to you guys. I prefer the Spins 808 on these type of beats, but yeah, here's the pattern. I feel like that little ending roll is just so hard, like it just brings it into the next part. After that, I just added a clap. I don't really have to say much for that, I don't think. Then I added this snare roll pattern. And I kept this on like some parts of the beats, and then on other parts I didn't. Like I pretty much used this as like a transition almost. So I cut it out on some parts. I like to have some snare rolls in this because I don't really use a lot of instruments in these beats, so I want to do the most that I can with the instruments that I'm using. Simplicity is better. You know, if you have a beat with like a million sounds, an artist is more than likely going to tell you to take some shit out. So that's why I just wanted to keep it simple. After that, I added this hi-hat pattern. It's pretty simple, but you know, like with these type of beats, you use triplet rolls a lot. And as you can see, I did that with the 808 and I did that with the snare pattern already. So if you're not following the pattern, you know, triplet patterns on these type of beats is usually what you go for. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys what the hi-hat sound like. And yes, it's repetitive, but I will say it a million times. The instruments are doing a lot of the work for you on this beat. So if your drums are simple, it's okay. When I show you the beat at the end, it's all going to make sense. And the last thing I did was this open hat pattern. And I just added a little delay on that. And that's about it, guys. I mean, I didn't really do too much to any of the drums or anything. I added this riser just like before and after the hooks, and I added this this crash right here. Just like little sound effects. You know, the point of like Regalia beats is for it to sound like some like Final Fantasy shit, or like, you know, just like some Regal shit using orchestral sounds, like almost some like video game type of shit, like royalty shit. So that's why you're using pianos. That's why you're using violins. That's why you're using this orchestral like crash sound. Yeah, guys. So I'm gonna play the beat. Let me know what tutorials you want to see next.
Hunter, that shit crazy.
Tastemakers.